Hi friends, host Eric here, host Talking with Fence People, and I've got a group of people here I didn't really expect to have while making this video, which was intended to be a general musings video that relates as much to um, my own distaste with myself in a lot of different ways than it does anything else. Uh, it starts with the video that I just watched myself. I watched a video I just published a little while ago, and I just didn't like myself very much. That video, it upset me because I felt like I was doing some sort of thing.
Which one was it?
It's the one we made about maps and meta maps and
Oh,
stuff like that. I don't know. It's like legitimate stuff to talk about, but there's some FE problems that bother me when I watch that video. And I don't exactly know what to do about them. And in general, I don't feel like I have before me a clear path about a lot of stuff that, you know, I'm still a bit of a bucket full of neuroses, and I don't know if that's ever going to change. I don't know how to present the self as a media object in ways that are authentic while concurrently being self aware. Um, I mean, I know I've attained authenticity in certain examples of media by my own standards, and other times not. But I'm not sure how that comes to be. I'm not sure which like like when one goes about through life just kind of acting and rolling with whatever's in front of you and trying to play all the time as I typically do. And then you try to sort of step back and say, okay, now I've been bullshitting long enough. Let's check to see like how it tethers to something foundational. That gets tricky, it's a tricky question. Hi, baby cakes.
I,
Um, and you know, this has a lot to do with that breaking down of autopilot that I used to have as a means of going through everything. I mean, it's been breaking down for a while, but certainly this relationship has sped up that process of breaking down the autopilot. My relationship autopilots have afforded me no utility at all. I can't accomplish anything with my tricks and games. Um, but I didn't even know I had. I didn't even know were tricks and games. I had internalized them so wholly, and I probably will express that same mistake again at some point. But it'll just be like a different set of facts, a different set of specifics, a different little thing to be upset about or something. Does one ever really just entirely not indulge in that kind of stuff anymore? Ever? I mean, everybody's human, but how can you really justify it if you're the more aware you get of it, the harder it becomes to justify. You have any thoughts, Susie or Katie?
You say it's neurosis or something. But is it? You mentioned something about tethering back to something, to authenticity. Is it just the autopilot doing stuff and you question it afterwards?
It's the it's like I'm bothered by a lack of vision that that subsumes the improvisational nature. Um, I want to step back and look at the architecture blueprint I laid out a long time ago or something and see how shit emerged from that process. But it wasn't like that. It was never like that. I was always just flying by my seat of my pants, and I still am. And so you kind of wonder at a certain point, well, what's going on here? But I mean, specifically in this instance, I'm talking about like who I'm positioning myself to be in media objects, or what that's supposed to do or mean or something.
But is it like this idea you have of what you're supposed to be, which you don't necessarily have a grasp of?
Um, well, it's coming to terms with the fact that I'm positioning in ways that are well, I guess it's dealing with I don't like FE failures for one thing. I just don't like them. I don't like to be not likable, and I don't like to be smug, and I don't like to be pedantic, but I find myself being that all the time. Um, and understanding that to a certain extent, a certain amount of assumed assumed air of expertise is part of the deal, you know. Uh, and it's one of those things where you got to well, if you want to be successful or have achievement and get this kind of FE reward, then you got to sacrifice some other kind of FE thing, or I'm not entirely sure. I think there may be just I'm not deft enough to find the exact edge of the knife that's to be found or something.
Maybe you're overthinking it.
Is that a possibility? Could I be overthinking something?
Yes.
Hmm,
INTP telling you you might be overthinking something.
it's possible. I mean, I'm thrown into thinking about this whole thing because of Taylor's ordeal and Katie's ordeal and the implications of telling those stories as under different frames, under frames that prioritize certain outcomes, under frames that prioritize certain tests of validity, and finding myself like actually having to function as a moral agent, which is very unusual for me, and I think unusual for most people. We don't have a lot of situations where we have to make actual moral decisions where you have to, in some instances, maybe respect other people's right to choose for themselves how you impact their situation, for better or worse. Um, and the complications of allies disagreeing. Uh, it doesn't change the strength of the alliance, but it makes relations complicated sometimes. So it's there's a lot of stuff going down in general. Kim and I are well past and in the aftermath of a big fight and feeling pretty damn good about shit. But I think it rocked us both pretty good. It was it was the scariest fight of our relationship. Hopefully, the last one of that scope. I'd like to believe it's the biggest fight we're ever gonna have. I don't know if that's true, but I think it's possible. And I know that coming out of it, even though we're both a little bit traumatized by it, I feel more certain than I have before with less certainty. It's like I'm aware of the fact that people blow shit up sometimes for reasons who knows why. It requires real trust to commit to somebody, want to marry them, want to be with them forever, knowing that, there's no guarantees. There just aren't any. That's like grown up, like, well, fuck, kind of trust where you go, oh, I can't play pretend childhood trust anymore, where we can just pretend that it doesn't matter. We're blood brothers. We've pricked our thumbs and pushed it together. We're friends forever. We can't just pretend that. I mean, that's what marriage is, right? We are going to pretend it. We're going to pretend it, formally, in a way that says we're really, really pretending this shit hard. But the thing is, it's never the pretend or the narrative that you're setting up in advance that makes a relationship last. It never is. It never will be. I can't spike out all the possible ways that Kimberly might someday justify leaving me, which is what I would like to do. I want to spike them all out or justify any bad behavior. I don't do it, Susie. I'm just saying. That's my instinct, right? Let me make a long list of possible arguments she might use in the future to justify bad behavior and eliminate them as acceptable arguments in advance.
That's horrible, Eric.
Yes, right. So the point is, that's called trust, is not doing that. And just saying, okay, I trust you. You're not gonna betray me. You are the person I know you to be. And I'm just gonna have to I'm gonna waste no energy on policing possible breaches of trust. Because if I'm gonna be doing that, then I obviously don't trust you, and if I don't trust you, then why the fuck am I with you?
But if you're going to know who a person is, wouldn't an SI DOM be pretty reliable?
Yeah, I agree with you. All the logic is on the side of trust here. I'm not saying Kimberly is somebody who is requiring a great leap of trust from me. She's given me no reason to do anything but trust her, And for everything I know of her and her life history, she has been a very loyal and trustworthy um, mate to whomever she was with for the longest duration of the committed relationship. So she's not a cheater, and she's had every reason to be honest about what she's telling me about how much she loves me and how, she's just because I don't understand the FI component of things doesn't mean it doesn't matter for stuff, right? Thank you, Katie. I appreciate your validation of that. It's not one of those things we can prove, but I have to understand um, that it is a factor that is relevant.
FI is relevant, Eric.
I know. I'm saying it is. It is a factor. It's relevant. Okay, so um, got a little off track there. Anyway, part of the problem with FI is when I feel there's been great injustice done, as I do feel, um, I can get so angry that I tend to just ignore the thing that I can't think about. I feel so angry that I just want to fly off the rails and hurl invective at those parties that I think are responsible. So I try not to do that so much anymore, as it's not usually as effective as when I pull back and consider courses of action and plan them out a bit, which brings me back full circle to the topic in general as a whole. I'd like to be I'm going to make my New Year's resolution now. I think I'd like to be two things in the coming year, starting from middle of November. This is called the resolutional year. It's like a fiscal year. It starts in November, ends in November. Um, for my resolutional year, I'd like to be, on the one hand, more less smug. I'd like to be less smug in my displays.
He said smugly.
I, I, I have to work on it, obviously. Hey, we have to have a baseline. I have to have a baseline of smugness that I can improve from. Okay. I don't know how to not be smug sometimes. I know I'm coming across as smug. I watched this last video. I thought, you smug motherfucker. I'm going to reach into the screen and smack your ass. I don't know what to do about it. I have to learn to not display so smugly. So anyway, I got Susie here to smack me down like she just did periodically. That probably helps a little bit. My second resolution, though, is I guess it's about authenticity or not. Yeah, it's about having a longer time frame of understanding authenticity. So starting to turn a little bit away from what's authentic is what I feel like doing right now into what's authentic is some expression of self that is more considered than that. So like I guess one way to put it would be more considered in my actions and less. Well, I mean, this is totally the opposite of considered, right? This video here is what I'm talking about. I'm thinking about this right now, so I'm gonna make a video about this right now. You know, but again, I need a baseline to improve from. So that's fine in this video. Thoughts? Okay, well, that's my thoughts.
It's like you haven't found out what you're going to do. You have a goal, but you don't know how. So you're not really saying anything at this point.
I'm resolving, okay? That's what resolutions do. They resolve. They make resolutional claims. Or they affirm resolutional goals, let's say. I'm affirming a goal, Susie. I'm not making a plan here. Making a plan is part of the goal that I'm
So
affirming.
you're sit you're sitting still thinking about shit
Susie, don't make fun of my weak SE.
for now.
It's my insecurity function. You can give me a complex. Um, yeah. So for
No,
now,
no, I'm not. I'm just seeing what you do there because I do the same thing.
oh, I'm playing INTP right now. Except this